Afternoon, ladies and gents. My name is Miguel, aka Mighty Migs, and I'm your host for this Passion for Acting podcast episode. And today we have not only a guest, but a brother from another mother. It's his third time being a guest in this podcast, Hassan I. How are you, good sir?
Good, thank you, Miguel, for having me back again, man. It's always fun doing this with you, dude.
Oh, look, that's why I keep asking you to come back, because like the next one, I'll think of something. But right now, we are going to talk about our top 5 actors who inspire us. So, but before we go further ahead, I'd like to mention that the sponsor of this podcast is actually Sydney Actors Association. So if you're watching this on YouTube or Instagram, just please click and visit the page on the description box below. And if you're an actor looking to sharpen their craft in any way, shape, or form, and you want to be surrounded by actors who are like-minded and encouraging, this could be the right place for you. And my good friend and acting coach, Sam Haft, will look after you as best as he can, I promise. Yeah, but without further ado, Hassan, this is your time to shine, and tell us about your top 5 actors of all time. So ready, get set, and
good. All right,
go.
Cool. All right. Well, look, just quickly, the top 5 I have is based on a number of things, but the most important is 2 things: how I got impacted by watching them throughout growing up, and how much I believe today, how talented they are in terms of being able to nail different roles, different genres, different performances, different techniques. And there are so many huge people and lesser known people that I really wish I could mention all of them, but the challenge that I enjoy, and I've got my top 5 in mind for different reasons. My number 5, I'm going to give it to Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. The reason why is 2 biggest things. I mean, the guy he's such an ambitious artist, such an ambitious person, and my dad, he was actually my dad's one of his top favorite actors too. My dad loved watching the 1920s and prior and later comedy films, the black and white times, Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chaplin. And one day I was young, and my dad would point at the TV whenever Robert Downey Jr. would be in a film we'd be watching together. He'd be like, "That's Charlie Chaplin." Obviously going back to the 2006, I think, film. There was a remake of Charlie Chaplin that obviously Robert Downey Jr. nailed the role of, absolutely destroyed it. And to perform such a feat of the classic of Charlie Chaplin, to me, spoke, endless. That the guy is talented for sure. You cannot underlook that. If anyone can do that, then they've got such potential. And my dad spoke very highly of Robert Downey Jr. From then on, up until, So whenever I would think of myself, part of the thought process I get whenever I'm trying to stay, in the game mentally, is Robert Downey Jr., despite him being number 5 out of my top 5, he is probably the top person that I think of to remind myself of me, of what I would like to achieve for myself. So Robert takes that 5th spot for me, and that means a lot. Number 4, Adrian Brody.
Oi!
Adrian Brody. I know the guy's been in the game for a long, long time, and the guy now, he's really... what I love about Adrian is, aside from the fact that I think he's absolutely a talented actor in anything he can put him in, even... What I love about him is that he still continues to take part in short films that not many people know about that he's in. He still continues. He's one of the ones that tries to stay engaged with his fans using social media. I mean, look, I'll put Adrian Brody as number 4, and what I'm about to say is going to sound like I'm beating on the guy, but you can go on his Instagram and tell that the guy doesn't know half of how he handles social media. But I love that he's still trying. But I love that he's trying. I love the fact that he smiles in every single one of his videos. I know the guy has gone through ups and downs. And these ups and downs, you watch a guy like a successful person as Adrian Brody, who's been in films with a Jackie Chan and many other legends in multiple different styles of filming. I first saw him in Peter Jackson's King Kong, And like for a guy like him, of his status, if he's going to go through many ups and downs, and you yourself, especially if he's someone that you look up to as an actor, expect the same, if not similar, challenges for yourself. And he's still doing a damn thing. So that's what I love about him. And of course, great actor. He'll nail anything he's in. Luca Changretta in Peaky Blinders, the Piano Man. There's
The pianist. I think it's called
the pianist. Sorry, the
pianist.
pianist. Yeah, the Piano Man.
Yeah.
The piano. I think he got nominated for something for that. If he didn't win an award for that performance as well, the guy deserves it, man.
Yeah.
And obviously, I still watch some of his earlier stuff, later stuff as well. A series on Stan that came out maybe about a year or so ago, Chapelway or something like that. But yeah, he's number 4 for a damn good reason. Now, my top 3 was going to go to quite a number of people. And ultimately, the ones that I did not choose will be in this honorable mention. But for number 3, I stuck to my gut and I went with Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan, and I think he took the edge out of the other people I'll be mentioning later down the list. He took the 3rd place. Ultimately, for the one thing that the others did not have in common with him, which is the fact that he definitely influenced me growing up. He's been, my eyes have watched great performances and characters he's portrayed from such an early age. He's been in my eyes from video games, and I thought he was always an action hero that didn't exist. Obviously, the Bond franchise goes a long way for me, but I've seen him in other things as well. I forgot what it's called, but there was a role. He was doing something prior to him landing Bond, and it almost stuffed up his chances of getting it in general. I forgot what it's called, but I did watch him in that too. Detective? No,
Remington Steele.
There you go. That's the one.
Yes.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes.
That one I saw him in, he looks the same, and I'm like, it's GoldenEye Bond, but he's also acting different too. And I'm like, I got into it. You've got to give it just a bit of time, and he will handle it. He knows how to do it. Obviously, Mr. Doubtfire, he was awesome in that role. Like the guy made me laugh, despite the fact that he copped a lot of shit from the great late Robin Williams.
Yeah.
But he's always a standout, in anything that he's in. And Pierce Brosnan, not only, again, I believe, absolutely a talented actor and a class actor in real life as well.
Yeah. He's still got the same wife after all these years, after all these decades as well. And honorable, honorable.
A lot of people love that about him, and I look, it's very admirable, very admirable. Remind me of another actor, Denzel Washington.
Of course.
The guy is absolutely a loyal person when it comes to it. Like you rarely ever see him in scenes that involve touching or kissing another person of the opposite sex. I'm just saying that, like, to me, especially with my background, like, that's something I admire a lot, to be honest. That takes a lot of courage and balls in an industry that demands you to really expand on what you're willing to do. So things like that.
I understand that about your religion. Yeah, so it's honorable that you're following that. Yeah, you got convictions.
Yeah. No, and trust me, these when I see these traits, I keep them in mind. Now that I'm, thank God I'm in the age and body that I'm able to sort of like pick up on these things and respect it. If I see things that obviously doesn't fit my cup of tea, that's all right. Doesn't matter. It doesn't make me not like them or like them any less or more, if that makes sense. But yeah, for Pierce Brosnan, man, he's definitely he goes a long way in terms of the people that I've watched from a young age. And it sucks that the guy's still killing it. He's still taking on roles, and I just he's one of those actors that I wish I could see him continue to perform at the young age.
I think because he's both our James Bond actors. I mean, like, our favorite James Bond actor might be at this. He inspires us because he's got the most sophisticated approach to the character of Bond in cinematic history, in my opinion, and that's what I like about him. Yeah, he may not be as rugged or as muscular as Daniel Craig's, way of portraying Bond, but I just like the way he does it because he's got that charm about him. Yeah,
absolutely. know, and even so, I think there was a few comments out there where, like, okay, when it comes to James Bond, I know Timothy Dalton, who's again one of my favorites as well. I, before Bond, I mean, sorry, after Bond, it'd be Dalton as my second favorite Bond of all time. I just love the fact that that's the guy that stuck closest to Ian Fleming's version of Bond. And I know Bond, Pierce Brosnan's Bond, as close to that as Timothy Dalton was, but you still think Pierce, people say it all the time. Pierce Brosnan doesn't play Bond, he is Bond.
That's true. That's true.
And that comes down to his talents.
I think it's that's a good way of putting it, yeah, because you know, when you get to play Bond in your own way as well, like, you know, you get to have the Hassan version of Bond, you know. So yeah, and that's why all three directors who have led me to play Bond, they all remind me, don't pretend to be Bond, be Bond.
Be Bond,
yeah. So it's a fun role to play. You'll get to play him sometime soon in your own production.
I'd love to. I've got his watch to begin with.
Yeah, there we go.
The model 25180. So it's the 1995 edition, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it makes sense because, like, you know, having it in your right hand since you're a southpaw. So very good.
It just gives me things to do more with my right.
What was that?
It just gives me more things to do with my right hand that I don't use as much. You know, yeah, I'm a lefty, and like I put any watch on my right. Again, it just gives me something to do with my right hand.
Yeah. I think, you know, that's the good thing, right? It's like, oh, what's the time? Because for me, if I had a watch, I'd be putting it in my left.
Yeah,
so You're putting it in your right. So yeah, that's good. So just like, you know, GoldenEye is your favorite one, the laser watch, just like in the Nintendo 64 game. Yeah,
we got to get some ultimate VFX on our future projects, man. Oh, the things we can do.
No, things we can do, yeah. So I think we're going to have to talk that in private, not during a podcast recording, because we don't want anybody getting our ideas here, Habib. So yeah.
In that case, I'll move on to my second. And I'm going to sound like one of those, you know, people that really became a fan of Cillian Murphy, who's my number two.
Right. Awesome.
From the Peaky Blinders. But the first film I ever watched him in was 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
I believe it's the one. And that's the first time I would see him. And from that film, that's obviously the first time I would watch Cillian Murphy. But then, you know, growing up, I see him in a number of things, but I never quite had my eye stuck on him. Yeah, I watched the Batman trilogy, see him in there as well. I watched Inception, saw him there as well. And then what happened? I would say around the times where Daniel Craig took over as Bond, around that time of my life, I would be exploring the internet a lot more. And I would eventually come across YouTube channels who were dedicated to talking about Bond. And a few videos came out of people's thoughts on who could be the next James Bond after Daniel Craig. And this was before No Time to Die.
Mm-hmm.
And I would see the guy's face I'm like, hang on, I remember him. And people would say Cillian Murphy would make a great Bond. I'm looking at him, oh, he's got these weird features, I guess. And I remember looking him up, how old he is. And I know that, you know, he was at a certain age back then. He's at a certain age now. But I'm like, maybe. Wasn't so sure. Then I would stumble upon Netflix and I would see this constant bloody poster of his face and a title, Peaky Blinders. I knew nothing about it, but I'm like, you know what? Let me see why people keep hyping him up. Yeah, I've seen him before, but let's see why. And thus began my journey into probably, I would say, the best show I've ever watched, The Peaky Blinders. I binge watched the holy hell out of it. I loved it. I loved it so much that the character of Thomas Shelby, played by Cillian Murphy, I know there's a massive fandom behind him, especially from the Peaky Blinders. And I get it. I really, really get it. And I'm trying to do my best to to really express why his performance seriously helped me in getting to where I am in terms of my acting career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to mention Thomas Shelby a lot, which is the character he plays. But just know that when I say Thomas Shelby, I also mean Cillian Murphy.
Yep, yep.
Thomas Shelby as a character, watching the stuff that he goes through in that show, the fact that as a human being, he maintains composure through all the stuff that happens in the story. And when he breaks in a very human way that we all can. Peaky Blinders did such a good job in writing, and Cillian Murphy as well as performance at showing that on top of how, like, past all the exterior of Thomas Shelby, being able to handle things from business perspective, family business, love business, enemies, everything. He handled everything and has the skill sets to communicate with people, negotiate deals, manipulate, persuade. All of these traits that when you really love the character, you start to really wish you could become part of that character. I think you and I spoke about that before when we mentioned The Rock, we mentioned, people that we look up to so much that you'd want to sort of absorb certain traits and still obviously be yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Shelby is that on a massive scale, so much that he is probably the top source of energy that I took from when I finished Peaky Blinders till this day. People now tell me you're overworking yourself. Even yesterday, I had a chat with a personal friend of mine who feels bad for me. Just a lot of a good conversation that took place between me and a friend of mine, and not just from them, but from my parents, from many people close to me. They've seen me really hustle and hustle and hustle, and they see it. Despite their comments, whether they say you should relax because they feel like I'm really pushing beyond what I should be. I know that look, to me, I can do it because I've become used to it. Yes, at first it was such a thing, and it still is. You and I both know the industry is not. It's a hard thing to crack through, but we're still doing the damn thing. And this ambition is unwavering, undying, and that came from Cillian Murphy's performance as Thomas Shelby.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So you took something good out of it.
I spoke so much about that. You'd think, why the hell isn't he my number one pick, right? And there's a damn good reason.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, this is your number two, and Cillian Murphy's character is Thomas Shelby. It had an impact on you, and that's the reason why it's number two. You know what I mean?
And the guy continues to perform amazingly well, man. Oppenheimer, I would watch that as well, and anything else that he's in moving forward, I watch them all.
Oh wow! So yeah, I haven't even seen Oppenheimer yet, so I think I might watch it during my downtime on Sunday. Then, so yeah, it could be on Netflix.
You got some free time, long movie, watch it. I think you'll enjoy it if you can get through the slow burn, but you'll appreciate the story. You'll definitely appreciate Cillian Murphy's performance. From the accent and everything, he just knows how to be different, be a different person on every project.
Yeah, good on him, man. Yeah, because he's one of those underrated actors from my perspective. Yeah, so I'll definitely keep that in mind about that during the weekend, during my downtime. Yeah, during my solitude time on Sunday. Looking forward to it. Yeah,
I reckon you'll enjoy it for sure. Oh, I almost spoiled number one for a second, lad, but let me go through some honorable mentions because I've got quite a few, man. I'm not going to mention too much, but they are artists I have watched and really at one point and still do believe they're really talented compared to some of the many who's just got a big name. With all due respect, it's just on my opinion, these names I'm going to mention, I just feel like whatever genre you put them in, they'll kill it. And I'll briefly explain my reasons why. So kicking off my honorable mentions list is Jennifer Carpenter.
Jennifer Carpenter, awesome, man.
Jennifer Carpenter. Jennifer Carpenter. Now I've seen her. Obviously, you've got the classic, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That's a standout performance from her. You've got her in White Chicks, although a supporting cast. She was pretty funny. She had her moments as well. And I love the fact that she's even dived into video gaming world as well. She's voice acted a character from a horror game in The Evil Within 1, and I think 2 as well. She reprised her voiceover role, and she did pretty well. You know, I just love the fact that she tried and has attempted to expand out to other worlds within the media industry. And of course, as an actress, I think she's amazing. One of the very best. She's done comedy, she's done horror, she's done drama. I think she can do it all, and I see it when I watched her on screen. But I had to mention her, Jennifer Carpenter. Next is one that you may not be familiar with, and not probably many people of the English language, maybe, but the Arabic language, they may be very well aware of him, and his name is Mohammed Hanidi.
Mohammed Hanidi. Okay.
Hanidi.
Awesome.
Yeah, Mohammed Hanidi. I've been watching these guys since I was young. And he's a comedian. He's an Egyptian comedian. He can speak a bit of English, and I think he was at one point featured on a UFC promotion too, for some reason. When I think they were fighting in Dubai. And believe me, Mohammed Hanidi is a massive star all around the Arabic world. And would you believe that I had no idea what the hell his actual name was growing up, to the point I always called him Mohi. Mohi. And those who know the film where he played the character of Mohi will know. I think it's called The Great Beans of China, the film. The first film I ever watched him in, which is a comedy about him traveling to China, getting married to a Chinese Arabic-speaking girl. And it's a whole wondrous adventure. And a lot of his films, most of his films, he's known for comedy. And his comedy is that good. It is so good that you can go watch him with subtitles. You may not understand what he's saying. His movement, he's very physically funny. He's got the funny looks too. And you could just read the subtitles. If you don't mind reading subtitles, you'll get a good laugh.
Well, I grew up watching, Hong Kong movies in Cantonese and Mandarin, so with the subtitles. So yeah, why not?
Oh, that's foreshadowing, I see.
Yes.
But Mohammed Hanidi, man, and not just because he's a comedian, but also because he has portrayed, of course, dramatic roles, and he nails it. He destroys it. I love actors who are known for comedy and can easily destroy dramatic roles. You know, because the thing about comedy, this is why I believe comedy is, well, I think it's universally believed. Comedy is perhaps the hardest genre to do. Not just because, are you going to be good at it? You can be very good at it, and that's the only thing people could recognize you being good at.
Yeah. There are guys like Robin Williams and Jim Carrey. The dark roles that they've played, the dramatic roles that they've played in their resume, they nailed it. So yeah,
absolutely.
There's a handful 100%. Of them at least, yeah. So yeah,
and Mohammed Hanidi, he's one of those. He really is one of those. There are moments where even in the comedy film, he has that little moment of a dramatic dialogue, and it could really make you tear up. That's how good he is. All in Arabic.
All in Arabic, yeah.
So I wanted to mention him, bit of diversity like that. But yeah, which then goes on to my next honorable mention, very similar, Adam Sandler. Awesome, yeah. For many of the same reasons other than English. The guy's primarily known as a comedian. The guy's funny as hell. I love his style of comedy in his films, to me. And the guy can nail dramatic roles. And he can actually be looked at as someone that can absolutely kill dramatic roles. Gem, Hustle, I think it's called as well, the basketball coach role that he did. Love that film. Very inspiring. Incredible. Great actor, in my opinion. Not just as a comedian, but again, I mention these names is because I believe that I've seen they've proved being able to not be just so one-dimensional. Obviously, they're so good at it, but they can expand and kill other things too. I look at that because I love the concept of adaptability. Adapting.
Of course. Yeah. Like a chameleon. Yeah. Adapting like a chameleon, in other words. Yeah. So just us actors, we have to learn how to adapt to it, because even though we'll be filming like some kind of scene that's actually chaotic, like there's an earthquake or we're in the middle of World War III. It's not really World War III, but we just have to put ourselves into it and adapt to
Absolutely.
it. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I really want to reveal number one, so I'm just going to quickly mention maybe one or two more names without giving reasons why, because I think people alone, but they'll know why. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
You know say more? Tom Hardy. To be honest, yeah, there's many more, but I'll be here forever. But let me get to number one. And that number one has I think he's everything that I mentioned about all my previous five. Robert Downey Jr. to his ambition, Adrian Brody, the fact that he was he still, he takes part in anything that he sees value in, and things that may not go too far, from short films to interacting with fans all the time. And Pierce Brosnan is having no fear to take on whatever role comes his way with grace. He handles it all. And Cillian Murphy's just freaking natural talent at acting. Number one, I feel, takes all of that as well, has all of it combined, and that's Bruce Lee. He's like the guy that, for some reason, even though I never met him, if I look at his photo for just a minute or two, and I really just dearly wish he was still here for me to meet him once. I freaking teared up when I was young back then for just looking at his photo, wishing that he was here. The guy is a hero to me. I've said it before, but obviously my dad influenced me to watch him. I grew up with Bruce Lee, and especially when you have a childhood where you keep, you've never been one to where people look at, and when you are looked at, you're often looked down upon. And me being me back then, and probably still me now, never said too much. Bruce Lee was someone I could watch on TV, and he literally gave me that strength and mental fortitude, and I think a big part of who I am today. From before watching anyone else, there was Bruce Lee, and without shifting away from just obviously the sentimental reasons, Bruce Lee, he carries it all: ambition, no fear, talent and hard work. And just being a gentle soul with the people around him, taking the time, helping others out. There's many things he's done aside from his talent of acting. He's a talented actor for sure. Watch his film from an actor's perspective. I promise you'll see a lot of things that not many people see. Obviously, the ability to choreograph martial arts back in the day, his style of martial arts back in the day, it was innovative, it was creative, he was ahead of his time. It's so much that you don't get that nowadays a lot. I might be wrong here, but there's a reason why I can't think of any other name right now other than Bruce Lee who's currently doing exactly what he has done. Give me a name within the filming universe. Maybe Tom Cruise, because the guy has the shit he does is wild for film. But give me anyone else who is basically a Mozart of music. Bruce Lee was that to martial art, which carried over into film and into his life. Probably a bold statement from my end, but let's try it.
I think there's only going to be one Bruce Lee. Just like, he's influenced so many people in not just in martial arts, but also in other walks of life, like even guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, Tony Hawk. What else is there? There's that musician. I can't remember what his name was. I think could be Machine Gun Kelly or something like that, or a few of those rock stars, people from different sporting backgrounds who are not martial artists at all. They've been influenced by Bruce Lee. Yeah, because the way he's just pursued his dreams despite all odds. Him just being an Asian guy in Hollywood, or just a Chinese guy in Hollywood, he made a bridge from east to west, showing that anybody can achieve anything as long as you actually believe in yourself, you know. So yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty about it. Yeah, you know.
And the guy wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop. Like, he was stubborn, very, very stubborn. He had a temper. He would always say himself. He had a temper. He had a temper. It was a hot-headed. He said it himself. And I think that's part of what got him to where he is. And sometimes you need to add a balance. And Bruce was all about balance.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Whilst being human at the same time. But he wouldn't have got to where he was if he was anything less than who he really is as a human being.
Yeah. He had a vision for himself. Yeah. But that's awesome, man. I like that top five, you know, along with the honorable mentions, because it's like, you know, you've nailed it, and I'm liking what I'm hearing. So yeah, do you have anything else to say for the next 30 seconds or so?
Oh, I've got 30 seconds, huh? I guess I'll just jibber jabber and blabber on about but I love this watch. I love this watch. Now then, all straight to you.
Oh, look, I mean, I appreciate that, bro. I'm going to listen to this during the weekend when I actually get to upload it on YouTube tomorrow, maybe even later, yeah. But it is what it is. But thanks for that, brother. So your top five is amazing, because like it is subjective, and you know, they got different reasons why they inspire you and why you like them in different ways. Yeah, but good on you. But I'm going to start with number 5 in my list, okay, and that is Mark Wahlberg. Okay, so Mark Wahlberg. You know, not only is he a good actor in his own way, like he can be considered as one-dimensional because he usually plays the same character, but at the same time, he's got that drive that's similar to Tom Cruise. Like, you know, he knows what works for him. He knows what characters to play, because, you know, he knows how to draw the box office, because he knows what sells for him, you know. So yeah, and the fact that he's in his early 50s and he's still in shape, he still looks like it doesn't look like he's aged barely, you know, over the past few decades. He's done, and then not only that, he's got the same wife from high school, and you know, he's the kind of guy who's actually, overcome drug addiction when he was Marky Mark, the rapper, you know. So yeah, he overcame that, yeah, and his wife stood by him through thick and thin to help him overcome that, and now he's just one of the most successful actors out there, and he knows what actually to sell, because he's practically independent, you know. So he produces most of his stuff, you know, similar to Mr. Cruise himself, and and then the fact that he's a family man. I'm not really a family man in real life, but you know, I admire family men like you and them. You know what I mean? Because it's not easy being a dad or a hubby. I can only imagine, and I give props to you, gentlemen, who actually do it. You know, and who grind through thick and thin about it. Yeah, so I'm not saying that lightly, but it is what it is. But if I had to, and not only that, my favorite movie of his is Shooter, where he plays that, where he plays that, you know, sniper who's been like set up in a conspiracy.
I know it. Yeah. I haven't seen it. I've seen the poster for it. I could have sworn I saw him on the poster too. So, Shooter.
Yeah, it's an awesome movie. Yeah, the same guy who actually directed the Equalizer series, and the same guy who did Anton Fuqua, who directed my favorite movie of all time, which is Training Day. So he directed all that. Yeah, so he directed this as well. So yeah, so which is awesome. And,
Mark Wahlberg. Wow.
Yeah, tell me about it.
He's good. You know, I like Mark Wahlberg. I like him. Obviously, the guy knows how to act, and he knows, like you said, he knows what he's got going for him, and he sticks to the best part of his games. The guy has. I've seen him. One of the first things I really paid attention to when I first watched him was The Other Guys with Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, yeah.
And I always thought, I think I had a unique introduction to Mark Wahlberg when I saw him in that film with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, and I was like, oh, the guy's pretty funny. He's a comedian, you know, he's got that action man vibe, but he can do comedy. And then I was seeing things like Transformers, I think, right? He was in Transformers.
Part 4. He was in Part 4. Part 4 and 5, yeah.
Yeah. And he was in a lot of other things I would see. And he would go back with the Will Ferrell when he did Daddy's Home too.
Daddy's Home, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think the guy's diverse, very diverse actor, very talented. Definitely, I would say that. For me, I would say that because again, I've seen him tackle comedy, I've seen him tackle dramatic action vibes too. He looks after himself. The guy's got good things going for him. And like I said, you know, similar to Tom Cruise, the guy's ambitious as hell. Keeps trying to create, produce, and just make great things happen. Even the film that he came here to Australia not long ago, earlier this year in March, they filmed at the venue, or near the venue where I got married at. They filmed there for a film. I don't know what's it called, but yeah, just for like a couple of minutes of a scene. They spent months in Sydney at Condell Park.
Oh, okay, awesome. That's awesome. See, that you're making history there. So yeah, but good on you for liking Marky Mark as well. Because my number 4 is actually Brad Pitt. So for different reasons, yes. So versatile. He's probably the most versatile actor in my top 5. Because no matter what role he plays, he nails it with a passion, and that's why when you watch, movies like Troy, Fight Club, or even Meet Joe Black. Those 3 movies, he plays totally different characters, obviously. So he plays like this debonair, nice guy, pure gentleman kind of guy that is admired by some people in society, which is he's that debonair in Meet Joe Black, and meets Anthony Hopkins' daughter, who's actually played by Claire Forlani, and so he's a total debonair there, just a total gentleman, right? But if you watch him in Fight Club, he's a total bad boy, like who starts like some kind of a syndicate that actually means well for for society. But obviously, I don't want to ruin any spoilers here, but there's a good twist to his character in that one there, because I'm pretty sure there's people watching this podcast episode who probably haven't even seen Fight Club yet, so I don't want to ruin that for them. And if you watch him in Troy, he's that ultimate bad, the alpha male, the guy leader of the. And even though he's not a king in that movie, he's actually more feared than King Agamemnon himself then, because he's that ultra alpha male who's just who considered as half god, and that's why he couldn't be killed unless you attack his Achilles heel, and that's his name in the actual movie. Yeah, so and I like him there. I like him in most films that I've seen him in, because he just knows how to play different people. So it's as if it's a Brad Pitt in another universe every time he's actually played a different character. So yeah, and if I had to pick number 3, Tom Cruise. Okay, so Tom Cruise for me, obviously maybe not the most versatile actor, but he just knows how to sell. And there's a reason why he's actually selling in the box office more than any other actor at the moment, because he knows what sells for him. The Mission Impossible series. What else is there? The new Top Gun Part 3 coming out sometime soon. He knows what's actually to sell, and that drive that he has, it's just awesome.
You've got a real estate license. He knows how to sell, I bet you.
Oh, he knows how to sell. Yeah, he knows how to sell, and he's still in tip-top shape, because and even though he's 62 now, and he's actually he's born the same year as my dad, 1962, and the good thing about that is he still stays in shape, and he loves doing track work. He loves doing rock climbing, and that's the reason why he's always sprinting in all of his movies, because that's his favorite workout, sprinting. That's why. Yeah,
that's freaking cool, man. That's
really cool. And
there's a lot to like about him. There really is a lot to appreciate. Really appreciate dearly about Tom Cruise. 100%.
Oh yes. And just like when Brianna teased me on the set of The Count, you love Tom Cruise. And I'm like, yeah, so yeah. And I just, but the thing is, it says there, my dad said the same thing. Oh, you love Tom Cruise? Yeah, because he inspires me. Because it's but it is what it is, So preference and things like this cannot be explained, So yeah, it cannot be explained, and just his drive and his passion. And even though he's in his 60s, he's just as passionate as I was when I was in my teens, before I started pursuing acting. Yeah, probably even more passionate, So yeah, but that's what I love about
true professionals. They are true professionals in the game. Overall, people that can handle everything, because when you're in the entertainment industry, obviously there's a lot of things that are going to come your way, and combination of good things or bad things. But are they really good things or bad things? The real good and bad is how you deal with it, whatever the situation may be. And you can tell people like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, they are still relevant today despite the age, because they are able to handle the natural challenges you will get in the industry whatever they may be, things that we know and things that we don't know that'll come our way.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
handled it in a way that kept them there. They're the kind of people that they are true professionals in the game.
Oh, I agree, and that's another thing about Tom Cruise as well. Like that inspires me because, like, obviously the few things that we're doing are together, and that's the reason why I'm producing most of my passion projects at the moment because it's like he inspires me to do that. So yeah, even though that only happens once or twice a year for myself, and then maybe even for you, he inspires me to produce these things, these passion projects, even though they're just short films at the moment. It's inspiring, just to, yeah, he inspires me to do that. So yeah, but thank you to Uncle Tom for inspiring me and Hassan. So I appreciate you, Uncle Tom, if you're listening to this, yeah. And number 2 for me is Denzel Washington. So yes,
what a guy!
What a guy! Yes. So I would say he's probably just as versatile as Brad Pitt. But if I had to choose from an unbiased perspective, Brad Pitt's probably a little bit more versatile. But I love Denzel because he's that kind of guy who just nails every single role that he plays. And not only that, he's the kind of guy who'll walk into a room and he'll demand respect without even asking for it verbally. So he's just one of those guys you'll easily look up to in real life. I don't know him from a bar of soap, but like what you said, he's still got the same wife after all these years. And just his charisma, on and off the screen is just contagious, So yeah, and I love it, So yeah, and I love quoting some of his movies. And if I had to name the top 3 movies of his, it's number 1, Training Day, which is also my favorite movie of all time. Number 2 is Safe House with Ryan Reynolds, and number 3, The Equalizer. That's my top 3 movies of his.
Wow,
yeah,
wow.
The first Equalizer, the first one. So yeah, and yeah. I just love his passion for acting. He's just got that natural talent, and he's got the right face for. He's got the right face for being in film or even in a podcast. And he's just one of the most motivational guys I've ever listened to. Whenever I've heard him,
he absolutely is, man. The guy just knows how to light everyone's day up and push them. I don't know how. Denzel Washington, man, his name gets thrown around all the time in the industry by people within the industry and outside the industry.
Yeah.
Like the guy, he's I don't know does he himself understand how much he has helped people like you and I and millions of others. Maybe it's good that he doesn't realize it. I mean, if anyone truly were able to comprehend and fathom what they've been able to do in a positive manner, they might just go insane.
Yes.
The reality is, man, you have to respect a guy like Denzel Washington. You have to respect him. And again, like I bring up this whole, like there are things that he chooses not to do on screen because of his care of another.
Yeah.
That's very, very fair.
Yeah, and you can tell he's a good man. He's a family man in real life as well. And I'll say it again, but I honor a family man like yourself and Denzel, because it's just honorable, So yeah, but even though I'm not a family man myself at all, I admire that. Yeah, that's just like similar to Bisping. He may be a douche sometimes, but Michael Bisping is actually a good family man. He's a good dad and he's a good husband. So yeah.
Yeah. My word, buddy! Wow. Well, no, I'm kidding. He's a mad commentator, though. I love him.
I know. He's very cheeky. Yeah, very cheeky guy. So, yeah. But you and I have a very similar thing in number 1, and that's Bruce Lee. Okay, so yeah, and that's why I was doing this when I said Bruce Lee. Actually, when you said Bruce Lee, I was doing this because I'm like, oh man, I knew that was going to come, and I love it.
Woo!
I love it. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so he's the guy who actually inspired me to do martial arts growing up. He's the guy who inspired me to do to be an action movie star, a martial arts movie star. Originally a martial arts movie star, but the thing is that genre is outdated, not only in society, but for me as well. Because, what I do like is, action movies with a good storyline, but he's just one of those visionaries who stuck to his game, and he changed the landscape of, modern day cinema back then, even right now. Decades has passed, let's say 50 years, last year, 51 years that he's passed away, but he's still influencing and inspiring people generations ago. Just like 50 years. That's at least 2 or 3 generations down the track. And he's going to continue to inspire a lot of people, just with his on-stage charisma and presence and his philosophy and, his encouragement in life. Yeah, and there's so much things I could say about him, but it's going to take maybe another 45 minutes. But it's just, the guy has inspired me more than anybody in life, and, just being like water, not just in acting, not just in martial arts, but in everyday life, So that can be misconstrued sometimes. The way I take a look at his be like water theory is, you adapt, but without compromising your values, without compromising things you believe in. So I think that's what it means. So I did have a debate with my old man one time, and he told me, look, to be more like water when it comes to eating food, like, certain fatty foods, whatever you call it. So no, I think be like water means adapting, but without compromising. That's the way I look at things. Yeah, but that's just my take on it. People may have a different take on the be like water kind of theory that he preaches, but it is what it is. But thank you, Bruce, for inspiring me, and Hassan, and everybody who's actually been inspired by you over the years. Yeah, okay. It's a success for me and Hassan. Absolutely. In the near and distant future. Booyah.
Absolutely, 100%. And man, I just wanted to say as well, like on Bruce Lee's point, is many of the, like, his quotes and his philosophy, many things you can tell yourself every single day, that you can tell somebody a quote from Bruce Lee once, and they'll be like, oh, what does that mean? But you really got to dive deep into it. Like, for example, like, what is it? Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do.
Yes.
Things that they ring so true in today's world, where you feel, there's a lot of things wrong with the world at the moment.
I know.
But people like Bruce Lee and past philosophers too, the words they would speak, Marcus Aurelius, and all these, philosophical people. Words are words, but they are so powerful when they really touch about people, human beings. And yeah, man, Bruce Lee is like, you've got characters that are immortalized. You got Johnny Bravo, if you know Johnny Bravo, the cartoon character, or video game characters that are like Mario, forever will be immortalized. Everyone knows Mario. Bruce Lee is a human being, and he has become a game character, a anime character. A lot of things that people make today, there are characters based off of Bruce Lee. Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat.
Martial law.
Martial law. And there's actually a lot of lesser known video games and comic art books of characters. I can't name them. I don't know their names, but I've seen them. From very old, like 90s and even current stuff, that are actually based off of Bruce Lee. Yeah. Who else has gone?
Even Fei Long in Super Street Fighter Part 2. Yeah, Fei Long. What else is there? There's even all these Bruce Lee imitators. Not long after he passed away, like Dragon Lee, Bruce Lee.
I love Dragon Lee. Love Dragon Lee though. He's cool. I like him.
Yeah, I've only seen bits and I haven't seen a full Dragon Lee movie, but just bits and pieces. So yeah, because apparently he's one of the most successful Bruce Lee imitators back in the day.
I'd say Dragon Lee and Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, yes, Bruce Lee and Dragon Lee, and there's a bunch of them, but I didn't bother watching most of them because they were just cheesy. That's just one of them. Yeah. But it is what it is. But yeah, look, we'll have to conclude it there because we're going to end it on a high. I appreciate it. Just 30 seconds from your time. Do you have any words of encouragement to our fellow actors who are listening to this at all?
Man, I appreciate every single interaction I've had with people in this industry from the beginning, from when I first started up until today, and may it well be the very end of my time. I mean, not thinking that far ahead, obviously, but Dude, thank you very, very much, Miguel, for having me on here again. And every time we end this stuff, I always wonder when the next one will be and what topic will be next, because I love this stuff. I really do. Times I
You
get
know
hectic.
what? I'll think of
Yeah.
something, and then we'll talk about it on the weekend when I catch up
Yeah,
with you.
man. I'm keen.
Okay.
I'm keen. And yeah, thank you so much to anyone watching this section, man. Just keep going, and don't ever stop. I promise you, there are people out there that carries an ambition within them that will help you get there as well. People are incredible in this industry, and I've worked in. I still do work in many other industries at the moment, and there's nothing like this. There is nothing like this.
Nothing like this. Yeah.
Truly. So thank you, man. I appreciate every single one of you, and I can't wait to see you guys again and to talk to you again, man.
Yeah, likewise, brother. So yeah, and if you haven't done so yet, please press the like, subscribe buttons on YouTube, and it's just like that. That's going to help me not only boost the channel, but it's going to encourage me to actually make more videos like this for your entertainment. And until the next video, ladies and gents, we appreciate your time. Have a good day, and God bless. Adios. Yay. There we go. So yeah, epic, brother. So yeah, thanks for your time, man. So yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, so I'll see you in Parramatta.